Most are easily treated if caught in time.
Upper respiratory issues have been the biggest ones this year. This causes eye infections that may result in ruptured eyes and even blindness. We also see broken legs, resulting in disability and even amputation. A vision-impaired cat with limited mobility has a grim existence on the street.
Every day, Hillary and her team at Kibbles and Cover's Animal Welfare Group are on the front lines of the cat overpopulation issue. Your team has been an incredible asset to the community and a voice for the voiceless.
It is a constant battle. The message we need to get out there is to spay and neuter. Whether it be your pet or community stray, TNVR helps tremendously in many, many ways, overpopulation being number one.
Follow Hillary Slayton on Facebook and be a part of the solution to the feline overpopulation issue in Northwest Florida.
Panama City Sports Monster. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Lane in Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
What time is it?
Live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Panama City? You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on the best sports station in Northwest Florida, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And we're in the Slim Chicken Studio today. Thank you guys for listening. It's Boston Sim Old School. I'm David Hayes, and you can give us a call or text on the Rib Crib hotline, 850-215-6290.
And we are on the radio on 104.3. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, for my brother-in-law, Roberto, and Old School, we are now on Twitch and, of course, with our TV partner, blabtv.com. Be sure to like and share on our Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Download our new app and register at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And at the same place in Panama City, Toyotas, we'd like to thank you. We're going to be joining with 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and feeding the families for the holidays. Do you know anyone who had a rough year and might miss out on a traditional Thanksgiving dinner? Maybe it's your family. Nominate them to win free Thanksgiving dinner from Rib Crib in Callaway. And this is going to include a smoked ham and a smoked turkey, guys, plus all of the fixings to go with it. Now, submit your nominations on ESPN Panama City at Gmail or text the story to 850-215-6290 and reach out to espn.com/contact. Plus, all nominated families are invited to join us for a free, delicious Thanksgiving meal at Quorum Steak and Eggs in Callaway. Now, the deadline to enter is going to be Monday, November 22nd at 5 p.m. So get your submissions and nominations to us, guys. We really want to take care of 20 families in this community.
And if you nominate and you don't get picked in the 20 families, then Quorums, baby, that's the place to go. Old School, I realized that you had your hand up. You're ready to say something. What you got?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest that if you've got an Android device, and if you've tried to use the app recently, you might be experiencing some trouble, as I was. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is uninstall the app, reinstall it, and it will be working.
I've got a better solution for that. Get an iPhone. That way we all have blue text.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
I'm not paying that much money.
There's nothing worse than I hate
these green flashes.
Not just that, but especially if you're in a group text, right? If you're in a group text and there's green in it, Old School. That's why I just can't stand texting you for two reasons. One, you never text back. That's the big reason. Yeah. Two, it's green when I look at it. That's just, I know it's no different for you because
he can't see the colors.
Yeah, you're colorblind.
What's wrong with green? That's my favorite color. What's wrong with green?
It's an eyesore when you're accustomed to something all day long, and then you just get flashes of bright lights out of nowhere, unnecessary.
Oh, you guys, come on.
I was real thankful for the app today, though, because on the way into work, I was listening to Dan Patrick, and he was interviewing Drew Bledsoe, and I just got done watching The Man in the Arena, and I was like, man, it almost sounds like he's just repeating what he said in the documentary, but Dan, that was another fantastic interview. Like I was like, ooh, I gotta pull this one up on the phone because I do not want to miss none of this.
And really cool to learn that, of course, I knew Bledsoe had his own winery, but Very
Yeah.
awesome to know how involved he is in it.
Mhm.
And on top of that, they've recently received awards in a 95 rating, which is very, very excellent. So good for him.
You know, even with a 95 rating, he's not happy. He
Yeah.
feels like his wine is good enough to be rated even higher.
I mean,
So, you know,
It's
he's
a
like,
complex wine.
that's how guys like that get to where they
that's
are.
exactly right.
You know, that's how
And he also
true
said
champions
that,
become that way.
he said that Tom Brady was really good at chugging beer
I
at
bet
one time.
He's probably
But he
been
doesn't do it anymore now.
great and
Not during the
competitive at
season.
anything.
I don't think he drinks beer at all anymore.
Oh, is it just strictly avocado
It's just-
tequila?
he's
Avocado
moved
tequila.
straight on to when he drinks what was it?
Avocado.
Avocado tequila.
That's right.
Hey, you pair that up with your avocado toast in the morning.
Yeah,
You're doing big things, baby.
go out on a boat and you'll feel really good by the end. Of
You'll be throwing Lombardi around, baby.
You'll be throwing up other things.
How about though, because that was a great segue for Dan Patrick to get into Drew Bledsoe and his wine, but he was talking about Mo, the guy who hit him and put Drew Bledsoe out, if he should come up with a wine called Internal Red. I was like, whoa, man.
That's a tough
Too
jab,
soon. Yeah.
considering all that we know that happened to him. You know, he almost he could have passed away.
Yeah.
You know, if
Lost,
they didn't
liters
force,
of blood.
Yeah, if they didn't force him to go home or to go to the hospital,
to the
and he
hospital.
chose to go home. He would have never seen.
Yeah,
another
he
day.
said he would have died. He said he was bleeding out 1 liter an hour
Right.
internally.
That's insane.
And he said, you're hurt. You don't really realize how hurt you are, and then a few days later, you realize just how serious it was. And I'm like, wow, that's unbelievable. But he doesn't remember it.
Yeah, he doesn't
He
have
said he remembers laying on the sideline, and then he remembers going back in, and he couldn't recall the play.
how to go, what
way
the
to turn.
terminology
Yeah.
was to say left. Say odd, say odd, say odd. And then so they ended up ratting him out. That was a great interview. Dan Patrick does such a great job. Trivia brought to you by another business who does a great job, and that's Merchant Management Group. Give them a call, 850-747-0664. They can help you eliminate your credit card processing fees. If you paid any last season, that's too much. So let Merchant Management Group take care of you. And guess what? Best part about MMG?
Where are they?
Right here in Panama City.
Wow, another great 850 company.
No doubt about it. They will get you taken care of. The question for today, for you to get a $25 digital gift card to one of the 5 following restaurants in Hershey's Ice Cream Shop, Mr. BG's Diner, Panorama Pizza, Ryfield Seafood, and Shore Dogs, is who is the all-time leading passer when it comes to yards in Cardinals history? Do you know this answer?
Oh,
Off
that's
rip?
easy. It's
See,
easy.
for me, that I don't even know who Jim Hart.
I love this guy.
I'm about to come up with a new trivia question
you're
here.
gonna-
So,
Since you just gave the answer over there, that's what I do. You're not
I
supposed
know.
to do that. That's what I do.
I was like, I
I
don't.
thought I was the one that took over that in recent times, but I love it.
No, I'm gonna come
And I
up
had a
with-
good hint for them too. It's not the anvil.
It's
So
not
if
the
anybody
anvil.
is a wrestling fan,
Yeah.
they would have picked that one up quickly.
I got
And
you.
he also he didn't do it in Phoenix. He did it in St. Louis.
Oh, when they were the St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals. And then-
Ooh.
It was actually my high school basketball coach's name.
Jim Hart was a good quarterback. He was a big time quarterback back in the day.
Well, what we can do is we could just change the question up to say, who is second for the Arizona Cardinals in passing yards? Because I definitely don't know this guy either, man. So I'm assuming that this guy was playing with the St. Louis Cardinals as well, because I have no recollection of him. So who is second all time in passing yards for the Arizona Cardinals? Very easy Google today, guys. 850-215-6290. Hey, don't forget tomorrow night at Tommy Oliver. Big football game. Mosley just won the 5A volleyball state championship. Sneeds today won their 9th in a row in the 5th set today. 9 in a row. 1A state championships. Way to go, Sneeds. But tomorrow night, Mosley looks to move on in the football playoffs. They're taking on Lincoln at Tommy Oliver tomorrow night at 7:30. Let's pack Tommy Oliver out tomorrow night. That is going to be a big game. In the Big 12, 850-215-6290. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Give us a call on the Rip Crib hotline. Play a little trivia with us, or bring up your comments and concerns around the sports world today. Big 12 publicly reprimands Texas Tech's football radio announcers who are removed from calling the next game because they were giving it to the referees. What do you guys think about that? You're not supposed to talk about bad calls of the referees, and I think that they kind of name drop them as well, which there's a little bit of a bigger deal in that sense. But for me, I like it when the commentators and the announcers are, especially if they're not being biased about it, but pointing out when something's a bogus call and when something's not a bogus call, or when it's a good call.
Was it the Big 12 league in itself is who is putting down
The hammer?
the hammer?
Yeah.
Well,
Bob Bowlesby.
Did they take the time to also see why these comments were being made? Are they also reprimanding the referees? Because I would imagine that if the guy is going to the point where he's naming the individuals for the ridiculous calls that they're making, it's probably for a reason, as he does this on a daily basis for his job. I imagine that it's gotten that far for a reason. So why are we not also looking at the referees to determine why he got to this point? That's what I'd like to know. Where's the other side of that story?
Certainly, they should be. They are to be. I think the part that really got him was the fact that they named off the officials, and then
Has nobody ever watched a baseball game?
Yeah, right.
Because if you're sitting behind the home plate, your name's getting brought up.
Yes, sir.
If you're not having a good game
Well,
on the daily basis.
there was some really interesting calls, and then they had the video to show that it was actually a catch. There was a number of them, and these guys just really hammered them, and I guess they went too far. Personally, if you're listening to the Texas Tech radio program, if you're listening to their broadcast on their radio network, they should be homers.
Right.
I got no problem with it. And if you're on, it would be like, us listening to a Braves game and Joe Simpson, he goes off on people all the time. And
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he does it.
I want my announcer, especially in my home market, to be a home team guy.
Yeah, I want him to, Larry Munson for Georgia, when he talked about Tennessee and he stepped on their face with a hot nail boot or whatever it was. You want that. You want to hear that passion in your home team guys.
Absolutely, and that's why the vast majority of us, I think, when we listen to our affiliate, the Braves, rather than watching and listening to our TV, we'll put the TV on and mute it and listen to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and listen to our guys because they're there not being biased. They're there for the Braves, and that's what we want to hear.
And same way with the Auburn Tigers. I mean, when Andy Bertram is on the call, I'd rather hear Andy calling a game than some of the guys on the SEC network or wherever the game happens to be played that time. So that's another great reason to get the app. Get an iPhone, too.
As an announcer, you've got to be willing to call out your own team at the same time. Yes, they got some bad calls, but you also have to say, we got a break there.
Right.
And you got to be willing to say if your team is not playing well, you got to be able to say, look, we're not playing very good right now.
Right. I wonder how much it has to do with this. They called out the Big 12 at one point. The analyst names are Brian Jensen and John Harris. They name drop. We can do the same thing, right? No, I'm just messing around. But so Harris said, I'll say it right now, the Big 12 does not want Iowa State to lose this game. And then responded back with, Bob Bowlesby, you need to answer this. This is ridiculous. The inconsistency of this referee crew in favor of Iowa State, unbelievable. So I wonder how much it had to do with Bob's name actually get thrown into the mix and the Big 12's conference name being brought into the mix rather than just the referees.
I think it had everything to do with it.
Kind of like Goodell and Gruden.
And they're utilizing the referees as the ultimate scapegoat rather than bringing his name fully into the conversation.
Yeah.
Tonight we got a little rematch of a Super Bowl a few years ago. Patriots and the Falcons. What are we expecting from that game tonight, Old School?
I don't know. I think halfway through, Atlanta will probably be up
28-3.
28-3 or so, and then then number 12 will come off the bench for the Patriots and lead them back to, some kind of close game towards the end, maybe even overtime. I don't know. I don't know this particular event that y'all are speaking of.
You've wiped that one from your memory?
Yeah, it's part of being a good fan. You got to learn to flush it. When it's bad, you just flush it and move on.
I absolutely agree. But when it's good, you kind of got to. What do they say down
And-
here?
and by the
you
way-
got a Waller in it.
And Waller in it.
You got
By the way,
really get in it.
Tim,
and
I know
enjoy it.
you sent me a text on Saturday. I just wanted to point out to you that
Again.
Auburn is in Alabama. It's not in Georgia.
Ah,
It was close enough for you to feel it, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, when I threw my phone up against the wall, and my wife said, "What was that?" And I told her what was going on. She was like, "But Auburn is not in Georgia." I said, "Yeah, but he's from
Boston. He
What do you
doesn't
know?
know.
He
it's
doesn't
the South. That's all the same to
He
him.
doesn't know.
What'd you do later on that night when?
That's why he buys Androids, by the way.
yeah, right.
Exactly right.
What did you do later on that night when there was a game in overtime? The team went for 2 instead of kicking the extra point and got the W. It was a Big 12 game.
Yeah.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Irish friend of yours came out of the bottle.
No, I'll be honest with you. When it was whatever the score previous to that, Texas was behind, and I was watching it, and Kansas had a third down and like 7 or something, and they made the first down, and I'm like, that's it. Turned the TV off, and I went to bed.
About 55-48, I think, at that point.
Yeah,
Something like that.
whatever it was.
Hey, we got to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with Stephen Nesbitt, who is a writer for The Athletic. Should be a great interview. We'll be right back.
Weather forecast overnight, clouds will start to thin out by dawn, 52 to 58 for the low, north wind 10 to 15. High pressure building in for Friday and the weekend, some nice autumn weather, partly to mostly sunny Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Near 70 Friday, low 70s over the weekend, and light northeast winds expected through the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Saturday on college football on ESPN Radio. The Texas Longhorns head to Morgantown to face the West Virginia Mountaineers. With 2 games left, both Texas and West Virginia need to win out to become bowl eligible.
Our preparation and our focus on West Virginia for this ball game, everybody's upset. Everybody feels the frustration in what has occurred.
Texas, West Virginia.
Coverage begins Saturday morning at 10:30.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Barbaritos has been committed to serving farm fresh food since February 20th, 2000. For starters, Barbaritos food is made with love, straight from the heart. Every morning we begin preparing our food from scratch, from chopping fresh tomatoes for sauces to mashing fresh avocados for guacamole. Barbaritos cares about food. From serving char-grilled grass-fed beef as well as hormone-free chicken breasts to the amazing tofu for our vegan friends. Farm fresh is more than just a motto. It's Barbaritos' mission.
Barbaritos. We make it fresh. You make it yours.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. Inside the Slim Chicken Studio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Make it so. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Slim Chicken Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We got the Patriots and the Falcons, 7 p.m. tonight. So you'll get an hour of Paul Feinbaum, then we'll roll straight into the coverage for Thursday Night Football tonight. Going to be a great game. Now bringing into the Slim Chicken Studio on the Rib Crib Hotline, Stephen Nesbitt, who is a reporter for The Athletic, does a great job there. Hey, Stephen, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Who comes away with the American League and National League MVP? What do you think, Steven?
I think AL is pretty cut and dried. It's going to be Ohtani. I did a story back in September when Vladdy was making things really interesting, Vlad Guerrero, and I polled, I think it was 12 or so actual voters for this. There are 30 voters, and I know a lot of them, so I asked around just to see, like, is it close in your minds, and what could change in the last week of the season? And the long and short of it is everyone was like, no, it's not close. Like, I didn't find one person who's planning on voting for Vladdy, so that should tell you what's going to be coming. Shohei's going to win the award. He's deserving. He's doing something we have none of us have seen in our lifetimes. And he was not the best pitcher in the league. He was not the best hitter, but combined both, he was far and away the most valuable player. And you can, slice and dice any way you want it. I think had Vladdy finished the last couple weeks of the season a little bit stronger, you may have flipped a couple votes, and we may see a couple votes certainly that go his way, but I don't think it's going to be particularly close. And the National League side, it should be a lot closer. We have a good argument, I think, for Fernando Tatis, for Bryce Harper, for Juan Soto. It's going to come down to Soto and Harper in all likelihood. Tatis is out for a little while with injury. And you can, make a good case for either of them. It's Juan Soto. They both had unbelievable second half in different ways. Juan Soto reached base more than he didn't. And Bryce Harper had, like, an incredible second half as far as slugging and all of those big power numbers, as well as average and everything. So, it's great to see two Nationals outfielders at the same time. Oh, I'm sorry, one's in Philadelphia. But I think Bryce probably takes this one, but I'd be fine with it going either way.
How much do you think that the home run derby helped Juan Soto? When he got into the home run derby, he was saying that he just wasn't able to find his stroke, especially in the power department. Do you think that the home run derby got him on the right track, or am I just making something out of nothing?
I mean, in all likelihood, probably there's a lot more to it. I mean, the number of swings these guys take over the course of the season, could have been any other batting practice session. But why not, right? There's always a narrative going the opposite way that guys are going to fail and falter because of participating in the home run derby. So how about a guy who turns it on after the home run derby? I mean, he was unbelievable in the second half, and it wasn't just power. It was like his eye was better. So sure, maybe going to Coors Field and being that locked in for one night does something for you. I mean, you ask him, and he'll say that it did help him. He batted, I'm looking at it now, he batted .350 in the second half. He was .283 in the first half. Got on base 52% of the time he was on base in the second half. So whatever he did, he should do it every year because it was also a pretty good show.
Absolutely. And normally, you got guys that will say that the home run derby kind of ruined their swing after competing in it. So that's a little bit of a different storyline there for Juan Soto and for both of those guys, Bryce Harper and Soto, an incredible second half run there. In the National League Manager of the Year award, we kind of had a little discussion on our air about Gabe Kapler winning, but did Brian Snitker deserve it more? Because one of our callers called in and asked that question for us. So I'm asking you, do you think Brian Snitker deserved that award more, or is Gabe Kapler the guy?
I have to say on this one, I was one of the 30 voters, so it's out there already. I picked Kapler. I had Snit second, I believe, and then Schultz from the Cardinals I had third. So certainly this is one that I looked at closely because Snitker. I mean, you're looking at two scenarios. You're looking at Kapler, the guy whose team far exceeded expectations, or you're looking at Snitker, the team who helped pull the manager who helped pull his team back from the brink of disaster, right? So There's not a bad pick here, and to be honest, the timing of all this makes you raise your eyebrows more because this is something where I as well as the other voters, we voted on this in the last week of September, and so at that point the Braves were rolling into the postseason. That's great, but the Giants were finishing an incredible season where. They were never projected to make it particularly close with the Dodgers in the West. And the way they do it is a bunch of guys regaining their peak form, right? You had Brandon Belt, you had Crawford, Longoria, Posey. These are like mid-30 guys turning things back around. And I feel like you have to give some credit to a coaching staff at that point. It's not all the front office who did that. So credit Kapler and his staff for putting that season together. And then on the other side, Snit, I mean, you lose you lose so many players along the way, from your catcher to the biggest blow, of course, is losing Acuna. You lost starting pitchers the whole way. So to have this team survive the first 4 months of the season and be positioned at, whether or not they were above 500 or not right at the end of July, to be positioned to pull ahead in August and September is a pretty incredible feat. And then you add on what happened in the postseason after we had voted. Of course, he's a completely worthy manager of the year. But for me, it comes down to there's a 19-win difference between those teams, and I don't think Kapler has had a roster this year that was necessarily 19 games better than the Braves. And so I do think he did a pretty incredible job. And manager of the year honestly always comes down to which team exceeded the expectations the most. Mm-hmm. Who do we not see coming? So fair or not, that's kind of where the vote usually goes.
Yeah, I was one of those guys that was questioning, why Snit didn't get more play, just because of the fact that, he really held the team together when they were struggling beyond belief and losing people right and left. And I didn't realize that the people who voted had to turn in their votes at the end of September, so they didn't really see, the exploits that the Braves put on during the division playoffs, all the way to the World Series. So it makes more sense that Kapler would win that. But I just love the fact that at least Snit got some votes, because all through the season I was saying this might be his best managing job that he's done, just because of being able to keep the Braves afloat with the lineup that they had. Because towards halfway through the year, they had a lineup, the last four guys that were. You got Dansby Swanson hitting 5. So the last 4 guys in the lineup were an automatic out. And it was amazing to me that even though it was not a great record, it was just the fact that they were able to just hang in there until the trade deadline and, everything that happened after that.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right with all that. And this definitely shows the weakness of the award season happening right now, is that every single one of these awards, Rookie of the Year, MVP, Cy Young, Manager of the Year, they're all regular season awards. So they're all voted on after, but before the wild card game, you have to have your vote in. And so, you look at it now and you're like, there's no managing job this year done better than what Brian Snitker did, because you add in the postseason and what they pulled off. I mean, it's incredible. They never even got pushed to the brink of elimination, really. So the whole vote would go to him. But if we're just looking at the regular season, then both of them obviously were very deserving.
How do you think former Astro players involved in the 2017 scandal would fit into? Some of them are now becoming free agents, and how are they going to fit into, say, a team like the Red Sox or the Yankees? Is that something that's going to hold them and haunt them for some time now still?
The short answer is no. I think clubhouses are much more forgiving places than the stands are. Mm-hmm. They're going to continue to get grief, and deservedly so, after what they pulled in Houston and the question surrounding their championship and their playoff runs, and they may say it was limited to one certain time period and not everybody participated, but I mean, you're all going to get lumped in together, and if you saw something and didn't say anything, then you were complicit in that. You're part of it. So I think this is gonna follow them around a bit, but fans, I think, will begin to get over things if once you start hitting bombs for their team, they can become a lot more forgiving. And so an example is, today apparently AJ Hinch was down in Houston having breakfast with Carlos Correa. So Correa, the Tigers are going to try to lure him to Detroit. And Detroit certainly was not contending in those years when the Astros were cheating. But the Tigers also just signed Eduardo Rodriguez from the Red Sox. And in the playoffs this year, they both kind of had dueling celebrations. They looked at their watch and pointed to it and said, "It's time." So, they don't care that they kind of poked fun at each other in the playoffs and they had a little bit of a tiff going. Fans, I'm texting with my dad today. Like, my dad is a huge Tigers fan. And he's wondering how this is going to work out, and if it's something where there's going to be issues between those guys. The bottom line, no. Steinbrenner came out yesterday saying that he thinks, let sleeping dogs lie. Right? Let's get beyond some of this stuff because, if they need help at shortstop in the Bronx, well, you want to be able to go get any one of those guys and pay a ton of money for them and have fans kind of get past what happened in the past and maybe keep it somewhere in your memory bank, but cheer for them while you're there. I think by and large, fan bases will do that, and within the clubhouse, they will definitely get over it as soon as you help them start winning.
Awesome, Stephen. And here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida on the Daily, we have a segment called Defend Your Stance. And I brought a question up for the guys to ponder, and I thought it would be a good one for you as a writer who covers Pittsburgh sports for The Athletic. With the guys, as I question, and maybe the listeners will give them a chance to jump in here and have some time to ponder on it as well as, as a writer for Pittsburgh sports and, what is a good or the best sports scandal that you can think of for the city of Pittsburgh?
Oh, man. There are probably a bunch of good ones. So there was a point-shaving scandal in college basketball that kind of centered on Pittsburgh.
Right.
The Boston College one. It involved, oh, man, I'd have to get into details, but it involved, like, bookies and people like that in Pittsburgh, so that's a good one. But if I could... if I could pick one, it would probably be the Pittsburgh drug trials. So this is where basically all of baseball got put on trial for the big drug problems happening in the 80s, and it began sort of with all sorts of stings and all sorts of excitement. But my favorite part of it is the Pirates mascot at the time, the Pirate Parrot, was one of the people who was implicated in all this and ultimately got in trouble for it, and the whole ring of like dealers around him. They all got in trouble. All the players pretty much didn't. They all spoke to. They went to court. They spoke about this as a huge to-do, and some players are suspended. But basically, it was all the townspeople who were involved, who truly got in trouble, including the Parrot. But the Pittsburgh drug trial is definitely something. I think there's a 30 for 30 out there. If you guys want to learn a little bit about Pittsburgh accents, you should take a look at that.
Yeah, Jens would love that one.
Hey, Stephen, we're out of time for today, but, man, thanks so much for the interview. I really wish that we could have got into Fenway Sports Group and the Penguins there, but maybe we'll save that for another time.
Next time, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Everybody, check out The Athletic. Look for articles by Stephen Nesbitt. He is a fantastic writer and very enjoyable stuff. We appreciate it, and we are going to take a quick break, or we'll be right back with Brad Logan.
ESPN Northwest Florida. More.
Auburn football heads to Columbia to go head-to-head with the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Intercepted by Jalen Simpson.
It really comes down to it's just a game of inches. You got to find the little things that are going to make the biggest difference.
Saturday with kickoff at 6 Central on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Oh, the colors of Christmas. Reds, greens, blues, and golds. Makes me think of the beautiful selection of color gemstone jewelry we have at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. And they're all on sale at 60% off. Rubies, emeralds, sapphires, blue topaz, tanzanites, and many more. On sale now through Christmas at 60% off at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Have the perfect colors of Christmas under your tree this year and shop where Santa shops at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
East 15th Street, Panama City.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been in the Panama City area since 1989. They've been here longer than anyone else. The reasons? High quality, reasonable prices, and tremendous service. Stop by and see owner Jason Mulder and let him and his staff help you pick out the perfect building for your home or business. Just down from Harts Marine on North Highway 231. Online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. Member of the BBB. Bestway Portable Buildings. The best in portable, period.
Small business owners of Bay County, are you aware of the recent changes in the credit card industry that could affect how much you pay for credit card processing? With over 30 years experience right here in Bay County, Merchant Management Group is ready to help your business take advantage of these changes and in some cases eliminate all fees for accepting credit cards. Other businesses have already made the change. Call Merchant Management Group today to schedule a no-obligation appointment, 850-747-0664.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
We are live and local. From Camp Helen State Park to the historic Martin Theater.
Definitely time to let our hair down and have some fun.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back in. Slim Chicken Studio down at Rib Crib tonight. Ribs and rides tonight at 5 o'clock. Let's get to Brad. Logan, Brad, how's it going today?
Good this afternoon.
We are doing fantastic, and the Rebels got a huge win over Texas A&M this last Saturday. What stood out to you in that game?
The defense. I think just what DJ Durkin and Chris Partridge, the defensive coordinators, co-defensive coordinators for Ole Miss, what they were able to do to Zach Calzada, stopping that offense. Isaiah Spiller couldn't get things going. Devin A-Chain able to get some things going in the third quarter. But for the most part, that Ole Miss defense was stifling across that Aggie offense. And all of a sudden now Ole Miss is looking at an opportunity to get its first 10-win season in program history in the regular season. So standing right now at 8-2 with Vanderbilt coming up on Saturday, a great opportunity to get the 9 wins. And then that all-important Egg Bowl in a couple of days in Starkville. So that'll be a tough one, but I think Ole Miss got a good shot at getting to 10 wins, and I think that means Access Bowl, another opportunity for Ole Miss to get their third Access Bowl since 2015.
I'm going to ask you about the Egg Bowl here in just a second, a little bit more about it. But since we only got a limited amount of time with you today, there's been some rumors out there swirling of Lane Kiffin possibly leaving for Miami. Doesn't even make sense to me. But what do you think about those rumors?
Well, the Miami job, from sources I've talked to, that's been a job that Lane Kiffin has been intrigued with for a couple of weeks. The problem with the job is the money hasn't been there. Mm-hmm. Sources in Miami are now saying that there's an upwards of $20 to $30 million for a coaching package that could somewhere put a salary around $5.5 million to $6 million. Obviously, Manny Diaz is currently the residing head coach. Many believe that will not be there very much longer. So that opens up that position down in Miami. And at the end of the day, I think Ole Miss is willing to make a play in upwards of $7 to $8.5 million per year. That's something that word through Oxford is that dollar amount could go as high as $8.5 million per year for Lane Kiffin. Right now, he stands at about $4.5 million, and with the incentive packages, he's close to $6 million if he hits the incentives. Which right now he had a big incentive last week against Texas A&M. There's another, I think it's $150,000 this week against Vanderbilt. Another $150,000 against Mississippi State. Then you got another big incentive for an Access Bowl if that's an opportunity. So, but at the end of the day, I do think there's some rumor circulation. That don't forget now the agent for Lane Kiffin is super agent Jimmy Sexton. So Jimmy is wielding his sword right now and doing a great job of drumming up a lot of interest. But I think you'd be naive to think that Lane Kiffin is not interested in that Miami position. But the question is does Miami have enough money to put it before Lane Kiffin for him to make a move?
I mean, do you think the Miami gig for him would be more attractive than LSU?
In some ways, oddly enough, yes. I think there's enough talent in the state of the state of Florida to win. I think there would be much less pressure in Miami. It's kind of like, oddly enough, it's very similar to where he would go into a position like he went into Ole Miss, where it was almost not at rock bottom, but it was not a very good job when he took it over 2 years ago. He can go into Miami to where obviously people know that Miami, it's a brand, it's a place that you can win, and it's not, it's down right now. So he can go in there and kind of get that rolling. If he goes to LSU, he's going to be expected to win a national championship within 2 years. Scott Woodward, the athletic director, is one of the more pressing ADs out there. So there's going to be added pressure immediately. And I think, quite frankly, for Lane Kiffin, Miami would be a better position.
I got to ask something
Go
old
ahead,
school.
go ahead.
If Lane were to go to LSU or to Miami, is there a chance, you've been covering Ole Miss for a while now, is there a chance that they could hire a reunion-type coach, be Ed O, or maybe the coach at Liberty and Hugh Freeze? Is there a chance that they would ever rehire one of those guys?
I mean, in the coaching world, guys, you never say never, but I would be very close to saying never on either one of those two. Definitely on Ed Ogeron. Hugh Freeze, I just can't imagine them making the decision to hire Hugh Freeze. Honestly, I think the hiring, if Lane Kiffin were to leave, you could hire his replacement in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You just peek your head out the window, yell out on the street or down the hall and say, hey, Jeff Levy, you want to be the head coach? That's Ole Miss's offensive coordinator. And I think he could slide right in. He's done a great job leading the team. He's very integral in the recruiting process. He's a great offensive mind, as you guys know. Ole Miss is going to go heavy in the transfer portal this year, specifically on the offensive side of the ball with a couple of wide receivers, a quarterback. They're going to get a linebacker, at least that's what I'm being told. So Jeff Levy would be a natural answer. At the end of the day, I don't think Hugh Freeze – I'm sorry, you got me thinking Hugh Freeze. At the end of the day, I don't think Lane Kiffin leaves for a job. I mean, I think it would have to be a perfect job.
Yeah.
And, what he's been able to do at Ole Miss, he's got free reign of the jet. He can fly down to Boca Raton anytime he likes. He's kind of got free reign of that athletic department in regards to football. And he's done a pretty darn good job as head coach. And it's going to be Ole Miss's probably the best season since 2015. And quite frankly, if it wins Saturday and then beats Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl, it's going to be the best single season in Ole Miss history since probably 1958. So high cotton for the Rebels if they can close out this season.
Well, speaking of that Thanksgiving night game, the Egg Bowl, what can you expect out of that? What's the over going to be in that game?
Oh, man.
Yeah, oddly enough, I think Ole Miss's defense has really played well down the stretch. They've gotten better as the years went on. And what Zach Arnett is doing, the defensive coordinator at Mississippi State, who, by the way, in many NFL circles are saying it's one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. I think it's going to be more of a defensive struggle than you guys think, and because I think both defenses are going to play well. I think Will Rogers is, honestly, guys, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the conference right now. He's really hitting on all cylinders. That wide receiving core that I said on this program, I think months ago, one of the better wide receiving cores in the SEC, and they're proving it. I think Mississippi State's going to be a very hard out for Ole Miss. I think it's going to be a great game. I think this game ends up somewhere in the 30s, one way or the other. I think one team wins by 3 to 4 points. It's going to be close. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I just don't know which team that is. I think it may be the team that makes the least amount of mistakes. This team, being Ole Miss and Mississippi State, these two teams, playing for second in the SEC West, pinning Alabama beats Arkansas on Saturday, which we know that's probably going to happen. And if I would have polled you guys during the SEC Media Days back in July and said, by the way, Ole Miss and Mississippi State are going to be playing for second behind Alabama in the SEC West, you'd have probably laughed at me because I would have probably laughed at myself. I did not see that coming. And so that's a testament to Mike Leach at Mississippi State and, of course, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. And they've done great jobs, and I expect it to be a great game.
Oh, there's going to be some fireworks. Can't wait for it.
Absolutely. And I think what Will Rogers has done this year has been pretty exceptional, too, along with following the coaching. Can we talk a little bit about him? And obviously, he's leading all of college football at 75.7%, and he's second in passing yards, 3,700-plus yards. Can we just talk about what he's doing this season?
Yeah, that's a great point. And unfortunately, not a lot of people are talking about Will Rogers. Definitely under the radar. And unfortunately, too, I think not a lot of people are giving him the credit he deserves because he's stuck with he plays in the Mike Leach offense. He's going to get those big numbers. I'm not sure how good he is. Well, I don't think that's fair to Will Rogers. I think Will Rogers is a fantastic quarterback that has grown over time and has definitely taken advantage of the position he has been in. The completion percentage is off the charts. And a lot of that is, number one, he's got two running backs, Woody Marks out of the backfield along with Dylan Johnson. They're doing a great job with the screen passes out of the backfield. But this is all hinged on the fact that Jaden Wally has done a great job, one of the wide receivers. he's just got a bevy of receivers, and they're getting separation. And that's one thing that Mississippi State has not been able to do over the last couple of years is get separation from the defensive backs. And Austin Williams has done a great job. Mekhi Polk, a transfer, has come in and been phenomenal. It's just I really like this wide receiving core. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Ole Miss to go into Starkville and win. I'm not picking the game just yet, but I'm definitely leaning Mississippi State because the home team has won this game so much over the last couple of years, and Mississippi State's really peaking at the right time for sure.
That is going to be a heck of a Thanksgiving. Hey, Brad, thank you so much for coming on with us and keeping us up to date with everything Mississippi. And I really enjoyed the answer about Lane Kiffin, man. That I was not expecting that answer either. Appreciate it, and you have a great day, my friend.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll try to get them on next week, but it's going to be a busy week next week with everybody getting ready for food on Thursday. But check Brad Logan out. Go find him on Twitter at Brad Logan, COTE. He also does Inside the Rebels on 24/7 Sports, and he's with the Logan Media Network. He does a great job. Follow him on Twitter. Get your fix for Ole Miss and Mississippi State. All right, we're going to take a short break and come right back with Defend Your Stance. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the Afternoon Underdogs.
Weather forecast overnight. Clouds will start to thin out by dawn. 52 to 58 for the low. North wind 10 to 15. High pressure building in for Friday and the weekend. Some nice autumn weather. Partly to mostly sunny Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Near 70 Friday, low 70s over the weekend, and light northeast winds expected through the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by All About Garage Doors, your garage door repair specialist. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Ian Eagle from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football. Tony Baselli and I will have the call from Atlanta when the Falcons host the 6-4 Patriots. New England's on a 4-game winning streak and coming off a blowout victory over the Browns. Can Mac Jones and the Pats keep their resurgence on track against Matt Ryan and the Falcons? Join us to find out on Thursday Night Football.
Coverage starts at 7 on your home for the NFL. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hello, Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Hello, Tracy. It's Santa. I'm so busy this year, I really could use your help.
Absolutely, Santa. I'm happy to help.
This year, I want to make sure everyone gets what they ask for, and I know Tracy's Fine Jewelry has the largest selection at the lowest prices.
We sure do, Santa. We have some of the hottest trending styles around, and our cases are packed full of great deals.
Ho, 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 Tracy. I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Folks, shop where Santa shops at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Corum's Steak and Egg, home of the world-famous Heavenly Hash, has been family-owned and operated since 1986. Open daily 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Corum's Steak and Egg prides itself in offering fresh, never-frozen favorites at family-friendly prices. Come in and check out our daily lunch and dinner specials. Corum's Steak and Egg at 804 South Tyndall Parkway, where you never leave hungry. Also available on DoorDash and Grubhub.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. With the cooler season upon us, now is the time to be attacking those unsightly weeds that have been taking over your lawn all season long. We can design a specific program to help your lawn become and look its very best. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Slim Chicken Studio. Give us a holler on the Rib Crib hotline, 850-215-6290. This segment is Defend Your Stance, and that's brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. December 11th and the 12th, they'll be in Jacksonville. Caveman Rick, I need another little can of pepper spray for my fiance because when we were at the Morgan Wallen concert, they wouldn't let you in with the pepper spray, which I guess makes sense, but say you're like just two girls going to a concert or something like that with all that alcohol, wouldn't you? I don't know. But then again, you got people drinking alcohol, wielding pepper spray. That could be an ugly situation, man. I just had a mental image of people in line at the porta potty and being like, "Nope, I'm next." Spray you in the face with pepper spray. That's how you don't use it. Professor Plum texted in yesterday and wanted to know if we liked our turkey with cranberries or not. So old school. Do you like your turkey with cranberries?
No, I prefer not to have cranberries. In full disclosure, the only kind of cranberries that were ever brought to my attention were the thing that slid out of the can that still had the little ribbons from the can in it. That's the only kind of cranberry sauce that I've ever been exposed to. So I would say, for me, no. I like it just the way it is, without.
Yeah, I'm not a big cranberry with my turkey, but I do like. I don't think that I've ever had real cranberry sauce. I've always had it out of the can.
Yeah, that's me too. And I've been told that the real thing is obviously better than the canned thing.
Yeah, I couldn't ever imagine growing up in Massachusetts and somebody opening up a can and there being cranberries in it.
Oh, it's not. It's just like this.
It's the
No, I know what
sweet
it
looking
is.
cylinder, baby.
No, I know what it is, but we make it from scratch back home because we're from the most popular cranberry place in all of the world. I mean, Ocean Spray, everything. That's all in Massachusetts in Middleborough, and so I mean, we decorated the Christmas tree with cranberries. Okay, so we dry cranberries out, and you do one cranberry, 3 pieces of popcorn, 1 piece of cranberry, and that's how we made garland for the Christmas tree. That's just how we grew up. That's what we did.
See, I'm just still picturing cranberry sauce out of a can. I'm like, ugh, that would be nasty.
Cranberries are utilized for a lot of things back home, whether it's juices or snacks or whatever. But especially with Thanksgiving, which I never actually particularly cared for, but we did always have it. And also, we made different types of pies throughout the year, and especially at Thanksgiving with cranberry. My mom loved cranberries herself.
My second brother called it purple stuff.
Purple stuff.
Let's get to the Rip Crib Hotline. We got Bill Horner on the line with us. Bill, go ahead.
All right, man. I'm going to weigh in on the cranberry thing first.
All right.
Where I channel my inner Michigan Eddie. All right, the cranberry sauce, you got to look at it like the ginger with your sushi. It's a palate cleanser.
Okay.
You eat turkey, you eat a bite of cranberry to cleanse your palate before you eat, stuffing or, sweet potatoes or whatever else, man. The cranberry is a palate cleanser.
All right, then.
Huh.
I'm not, it's okay. I don't eat the canned stuff. If you bring, like, a good cranberry and you don't get too creative and put, like, walnuts and orange peels and, raisins and all this other crazy stuff in it, I'll probably eat it. But not too much, man. Like a spoonful is plenty.
No doubt. That's a great answer. Do you like it better out of a can or fresh?
Oh, fresh, man. I won't eat it out of a can.
Oh, my gosh. All right, what else do you got for us? Let's hear the channeling of Michigan Eddie.
All right. The air is rare. Detroit Rock City, bringing the 22s back to Tyndall.
High energy.
I'm going to put to bed this Michigan State debate in the CFP right now. I'm going to tell you all 129 reasons why Michigan is ranked ahead of Michigan State in the CFP.
129 reasons. Let's go.
There are 129 teams in FBS which are ranked higher in pass defense than Michigan State. They are dead last in FBS in pass defense. Okay, so you can't. Every team except Georgia has a weakness. Michigan has a weakness. Their passing game is not that great. They tend to get whoopsie-daisy late in games where it's a critical game. But that is dead last. You can't have a team in the CFP who is dead last in a major statistical category. You just can't.
That's a good point.
If they win out, if they perform some kind of miracle and they beat the Buckeyes this weekend, and then they go to Penn State and win, they deserve it. But I tell you this now, if that happens, Wisconsin will beat Michigan State in the Big Ten title game.
Ooh, okay. So what's Ohio State's weakness?
The run defense.
Run defense. So Alabama, that's run defense and running the ball essentially is their weaknesses this year.
Run defense for Ohio State. Oregon's weakness is, number one, you can run right at them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not that good. They're good laterally. Like if you try to take it outside, they got a lot of team speed. But you can run right at them. And their other weakness is they play down to their competition. So, you know, they're a team that should be just hammering those Pac-12 teams. And they're not. You know, week in, week out, they're getting by on a squeaker.
Kyle Albritton said Georgia does have a weakness. It's called their trophy case.
Well, you know, to be honest, Georgia's weaknesses, they haven't really been tested.
I agree.
They haven't played a good team all year. Not one. I mean,
I would say they've played good teams, but they haven't played great.
Clemson is a good team, but they have no offense.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson has no offense. You know, Kentucky, paper tiger, you know.
And Auburn.
Seriously.
What do we
Florida gave up 52 points to an FCS team.
Oh, man. I'm really curious about how their game with South Carolina is going to go this weekend, being in South Carolina. And I think Florida's an 8.5-point favorite. So Vegas is thinking something.
Well, I mean, they have way better athletes than South Carolina, you know. I mean, I'm not a Gator fan of the area teams. Believe it or not, I tend to like the Tide more than anybody else because I like Saban. I like the Tide when they were the old Tide that played defense and ran the ball. That's what I like. I like that Big Ten football. You know, we're going to take our 11 guys and we're going to run right over you, and you are not going to do that to us. And that's what I like. So I like the Tide when they did that. I think, you know, last year they had so much talent on the outside. You know, it was hard not to take advantage of that and have like a basketball on grass type offense. But this year they should have went back to with a you know, a new starting quarterback. They should have went back to ground and pound. I don't know why they didn't.
I agree there. What you got, Old School?
Bill, I think based on your description of the kind of football that you like, I'm surprised that you're not a Georgia fan, because that is exactly the kind of football that Georgia plays, which is they're going to line up their 11 guys, and they're going to run you down, and then they're going to say, now do that to us, and nobody's able to do that to them.
No, don't get me wrong. I like Georgia too. You know, I don't dislike them. You know, but if they can get by here, if Georgia can get by Alabama in the title game and be the number one seed, they'll end up in the national championship game. They'll beat whoever number 4 is.
I think
unless it's Ohio State. Georgia will not beat Ohio State.
Ooh. I agree with some of what you're saying with, you know, they haven't necessarily played great teams this year, but there's still something about them that just week in and week out, they're not just winning, they're dominating week in and week out. And I think that we've seen weeks with Ohio State. I know that we've seen weeks with Ohio State where it's like, what's really going on? Maybe it's the case of not getting up for the game, but still, that's not a good reason for me, because Georgia's getting up for every single game they're playing this year.
I know, I hear your point, but I don't think Georgia can score enough to beat. Georgia can score against a team with a poor defense, but to beat Ohio State, you're going to have to score 35 points. I mean, that's it. You're not going to beat Ohio State unless you can score at least 35 points.
Yeah, but do you think Ohio State would hang 35 on Georgia or 34 on Georgia? That would be almost half of what they've given up to this point in the season. They've given up 76 points this year. 66 of those in SEC games. They're non-conference games. They've only given up 10 points.
Yeah. But what great offensive team have they played in the SEC?
Great.
Come on, you know.
Tennessee gave them a little bit of a run.
Georgia's the only team in the SEC that plays defense anymore, man.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's the SEC has evolved into a spread offense, you know, shootout, 55-52 kind of league, man, and that's how it is. Georgia is the exception, but when I sit there and I think back to their schedule throughout the year so far, they haven't played anybody who's a dynamite knockout offensive team.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the SEC championship because they'll either be playing more than likely Alabama, but if Alabama falls, Ole Miss, they beat Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. They look like they'll be in the SEC championship then, and so you'll have
I
good
think it'll
offenses
be
there.
I don't see a Bo Nix Auburn beating Alabama, man. And you know what the nightmare scenario is? The nightmare scenario is Ole Miss drops Mississippi State, Auburn beats Bama, and then Bama turns around and beats Georgia in the SEC title game.
Oh, man. We got a lot of chaos. We got chaos coming both ways, Big Ten and all. Hey, but Bill, we got to go. We're up against the heartbreak right here, bud.
Hey, thanks for letting me defend my stance.
Absolutely. That was great, man. We appreciate all of you guys listening. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the Afternoon Underdogs.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Coach James Hale Show.
We're going to have the head football coach of Mosley High School. Huge game tomorrow night. We need everybody at the football game. We need to pack out Tommy Oliver. Show those people from Tallahassee how we do it here in Bay County. We got to get a little bit closer to that state championship. Then at 7:30, Doug Lee. He's already got 2 state championships under his belt. The volleyball team that just won a state championship. Our coach is going to be here. Some of the players. So we're going to be packed out tomorrow.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh yeah, it's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish, mustard, and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Sports talk lives here. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX in Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Everyone loves a win-win. And if you're a fan of sports betting, you can win-win too. Billions of dollars for education, legal sports betting for you. We're Florida Education Champions, and our petition brings legal sports betting to Florida and gives all the tax revenue to public education. That's a win for you and our kids. Request your petition to bring competition to sports betting in Florida and hundreds of millions of dollars to our public schools. We'll rush it to you in the mail. Sign it, date it, return it. The postage is paid. Be a champion for education by texting WIN at 888-922-2240 and sign the petition. That's WIN at 888-922-2240. It's a win-win.
Paid political advertisement paid for by Florida Education Champions. P.O. Box 8040, Tallahassee, Florida 32314.
The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs inside the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Slim Chicken Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, where the Afternoon Underdogs got to clear up a quick little mistake that I made. The Gators do not play South Carolina this weekend. That's Auburn. Appreciate you, Gator Phil, for the shout-out there. Or not the shout-out, but the correction. They're taking on Missouri, where they are 8.5-point favorites, though, on the road. All right, we've got some big stuff going on tomorrow night, though. Lincoln at Mosley, 7:30, Tommy Oliver. Also, Boston Tim.
Yeah, we've got some big things coming up for Thanksgiving, and ourselves, as long as at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, as well as Panama City Toyota, and of course Rib Crib. We're all trying to get together and feed the families for the holidays. So if you know any family who had a rough year or might miss out on a Thanksgiving traditional dinner, maybe it's your family even, nominate them or yourselves to win a free Thanksgiving dinner from Rib Crib and Callaway, which will include a smoked ham, turkey, and all the fixings. We're going to be giving away 20 of those dinners. Now, submit your nominations to ESPN Panama City at Gmail. Text their story to 850-215-6290 or reach out to espn.com/contact. Plus, all nominated families are invited to join us for a delicious Thanksgiving meal at Quorum's Steak and Eggs in Callaway. The deadline to enter for this, of course, will be Monday, November 22nd at 5 p.m. So get all your nominations in this weekend to us, guys.
And speaking of Rib Crib, November 22nd, Stuff the Bus, headed to Rib Crib. So you come out, get yourself a meal, and help a great cause at the same time. When you make your order, make sure to mention Stuff the Bus, and a portion of the day's sales will go back to Stuff the Bus Toy Drive.
I mean, we really can't say enough good things about the guys over at Rib Crib, guys and girls, excuse me. You know, what an amazing company and crew that they have there. They did the trick or treats or trunk or treat. You know, they do the card thing every single month. They're doing a free meal every Monday for kids that are in school. You know, they do the silent but very giving thing that they did, where they kind of just filled up trucks at multiple locations and sent them out to Louisiana and Texas after the last hurricane. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, they're doing these things these upcoming weeks. It's phenomenal that they're always giving back to the community, and they're constantly thinking about the people around them, and that's really great, especially, you know, in joining us and giving away these 20 meals. So thank you very much to Rib Crib and all that you guys do.
Let's get into our dogs and locks for the weekend. Boston Tim, I don't know if you remember what you had last week, but in the college football world, in the dogs, if I was doing a segment like Colin Cowherd where David was wrong, it was everywhere. Everywhere. I got all of them wrong. I had Purdue. I was like, oh, with the 21 points, Purdue will be fine. They're not going to beat Ohio State, but they'll be all right. Wrong. North Carolina State. Just needed a little bit more points, but they did not stick within 2 points. And then Minnesota and Iowa, I had Minnesota plus the 5. Did not work out, but we was really close there. On my locks, a little bit better. I had Michigan taking down Penn State with the 1.5 points. I had to cover the 1.5 points. And Air Force was all over Colorado State. Where I was wrong there, Auburn. And I looked right for a long time, man. I was excited about it. Did not pan out. Let's go to this week, college football, dogs and locks. Boston Tim, where you at, brother?
Well, where do you want to start? You want to start in college, guys? For me, I like a team that's been streaking pretty recently. They're a lower-level team, but playing an even substantially lower team. And since that team in particular comes from the state that really hasn't been successful lately, I'm going to take Coastal Carolina. Even though they're giving up 24 points, it is to a Texas State team. So why would you not take those points or give those points? You know, Texas teams are terrible. So my first big one definitely is going to be Coastal Carolina giving 24 points. And it's not my underdog. That's my lock.
You got Coastal Carolina to cover that?
Oh, yeah.
Without their quarterback?
Oh, yeah.
And Grayson McCall?
Watch what happens.
I'll be watching. Who are they taking on again?
Texas State.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a prison team.
Maybe so.
I'm not positive. But
it's not a prison
TSP,
team.
baby. Texas State
Texas
Penitentiary.
State wasn't the team from The Longest Yard?
The Longest Yard.
No,
my memory's not what it used to be.
Texas
It's foggy,
State
if you
was in the movies that Kathy Ireland was the kicker for.
There you go. Well, listen.
Come on, get your movies straight. Come on.
Sorry.
Yeah, movie
That
buffs.
movie.
That was a good look.
Unnecessary Roughness?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
Is that Adam Sandler?
No,
that was the remake of The
Yard.
Longest Yard. Yeah,
that was The Longest Yard.
But I have one more lock for college football, And it's going to be Michigan giving up 15 points over Maryland. I think they go in there and easily cover 15 points.
Rudy Cruz. Oh, my gosh. He said Ruggs is on that team now. Talk about
yes,
your
he
team.
is. Cheeseburger Eddie.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
goodness.
I wasn't ready for that one. Old school, you want to get into your dogs for college football?
Yeah, my dog is the University of Texas at San Antonio, your favorite team. The
best team in
Roadrunners.
Texas.
Yeah, they're up 4.5 to UAB. So they're giving up 4.5 to UAB, and UAB is at home, and I think that's my dog.
You like UAB to upset UTSA?
I do.
Or stick within the
the rest of the
4.5? Old school, I don't think you're too far off on that, but UTSA has just had such a run this year, and I don't think that they're going to be slowing down. I think that they'll win by the touchdown. It's going to be touch and go, but you could absolutely be right. UAB had a good one against, who was it, Marshall last week, I believe. So, they you ride that flame as long as you can.
Yeah, recency bias. You can't live in the past. They're going to get smoked. Double-digit victory.
Are we doing locks?
Yeah, go ahead and do your lock.
Yeah, my lock is Wake Forest getting 4.5 from Clemson.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
That's my lock.
So you're locking in
Wake Forest over Clemson, or at least the 4.5 points.
Yeah,
So it's almost like a dog lock.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. Lock in the dog, man. That's a good one. I almost went that way. There's a few of them that stand out to you. How about Baylor being a 1-point underdog on the road at Kansas State, I believe. I
have them as one of my dogs.
I think Oregon is an underdog as well.
That's my other dog.
Yeah, so those stood out to me. But I'm going to try Ohio State again, baby. I'm going Michigan State to stick within 19. Come on, man. We could do this one, right? Go ahead.
I do have an NFL lock.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Oh, when are we doing that?
Right after we get done with college football.
Okay. I just wanted you to know I have my NFL lock.
So I got Michigan State, 19 points. And then also, this right state, Chris, close your ears, turn your radio down. I don't know what you need to hear. But I think SMU sticks within 12 points of Cincinnati this week. And they might even, this could create some bad news for Cincinnati, but they could beat them.
To our exceptional listeners, please understand that this is why he goes 0-4 in college. Please don't allow his picks to weigh heavy on ours. Thank you very much for listening. We greatly appreciate all of you.
Locks, I've got Minnesota. They'll take down Indiana. They'll beat them by 7.5.
I thought you were going to say over Green Bay. I thought we were hopping up to NFL real quick. And I was...
No, I think I got Green Bay as a lock at that one. And then also, I think Rutgers and Penn State will stay under 46 points. Take the under, Rutgers, Penn State. You got any more dogs or locks for college football world?
Not for college. My lock of the week was going to be, and still is, UTSA.
UTSA to win?
To win.
Really?
By double digits.
Ooh, double digits.
UAB's a tough place to go play.
Wait. Who's at the house here, though?
UAB is at home.
Oh, UAB is at the house?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens, man. I'm definitely going to be having my eye on that game this weekend. Let's go over to the NFL, where there's not a lot of big spreads in this one. I think the biggest one this week is for Monday Night Football, the Giants and the Buccaneers. I think the Giants are 11-point underdog there. Get into your dogs, Boston Tim.
Well, it certainly is not going to be the Giants, who are 0-9 in primetime games since they picked up Danny Dimes. It's a lot of points, but I certainly still wouldn't take them. I wouldn't even bet on the game at all because you really can't rely on either team to be consistent. But to start with are we going to start with locks or dogs?
Let's do locks.
Locks it is. All right, so my NFL locks, one of them obviously is probably the easiest one of the week, and it comes in tonight. Right?
Oh, don't steal mine. Don't steal it.
You can't just say any team that plays ATL every week. You can't just say that.
Why? Because that's what I do. I mean, it's anybody playing Atlanta, you take them. That's the lock.
Absolutely. It's hard for us all to not pick that one, right? It's the most obvious one, I think, of the week.
That's why I took it.
So we'll all just discuss it quickly, right? I mean, it's a 6.5 point spread. It could be 16.5 points, and I think everybody would take it. Just the way that the Patriots have been playing over the course of the last 5 to 6 weeks. I think we're 5-6 in the last 6 weeks with a 4-game win streak right now. All of those games of which we've covered the spread. So we're looking really strong. And on top of it, while I'm not the one to believe that they're going to the Super Bowl, I think that they're just on the right road right now where it's going to be hard for anybody to keep up with them, especially a flailing, hurt, defeated team like the Falcons. So I think it's probably, like I said, the easiest pick of the week, and I imagine you guys would agree.
I'm still mad at Matt Ryan because I plugged him in because Kyler Murray was hurt, and he got me all of 0.76 points.
I did the same thing. I put him in over Rodgers. So.
Should have known better. Who does he play for?
You figured he'd be coming back from 40 points against the Cowboys. We thought exactly what was going to happen.
It's the Falcons, man. It's
the Falcons.
Hard to argue with you on that one.
All right, you got any locks, old school?
Oh, my lock is anybody playing
anyone playing Atlanta.
I do have one more lock real quick if you guys want to, and it might be a stretch, but that's not a stretch. But it might be a decent one. I think just because of the way that Seattle's been playing, we've had Russ come back with the injury, and he just didn't throw the ball the way that he throws the ball, and he's known for having touch. While he can run the ball relatively well, probably top 10 in the NFL.
And the weather doesn't help when you got a bad finger.
Right. The fact that he can open up the run and has the touch that he has is what makes him, I think. And he just didn't have that last week, and we don't know that he's healed yet. So only having to give up 2.5 points to win just by a field goal, the Cardinals being 8-2, I really have to stick with them. So that's my other lock for sure is going to be the Cardinals 2.5 over Seattle. Old school. Oh, wait, you didn't give it a lock yet.
No, not yet. I'm going to take the Ravens over the Bears, 4.5 points.
I like that also.
Even though they're on the road.
Today, but...
Yeah, now that's something that I might scratch that one out before we get to Sunday. But as of right now, I think Lamar will play. And Lamar at 85%. After the embarrassment that they just suffered against the Ravens, they got to come out and prove some type of a point. But then again, we're talking about the NFL where the underdogs have been king this year. I don't get it. And then another lock, Green Bay over Minnesota.
Yeah, you might want to lock Atlanta in tonight the way that things have been going.
Dude.
I didn't say that out loud.
Not out loud.
So, old school, what's your underdog for the NFL this week?
Oh, Atlanta.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Matt Ryan can't play terrible forever.
I don't know. I mean, with the underdogs every week winning, I am so confused by the NFL this year because the teams that you think are going to go one direction go the other. I mean, I just don't know anymore. I'm confused by all of the craziness that has been the NFL for the last 3 weeks.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. I probably just bet every dog this week just for the heck of it, just to see what happens. The way that they've been running, it's hard not to do that. Which is why I would take the Cowboys this week. They're traveling over to Kansas City, but they're averaging about 38 points over the last 5 games. And having, I think, everybody back in full health for once, and the balanced offense that they finally have when Zeke is playing and getting 50 and 50, they're very hard to contend with. So I think that's an easy dog. They're getting 2.5 points. Granted, and albeit they are going to Kansas City, I just don't think it matters.
I'm right there with you. I have Dallas as my dog, but here's the thing. They looked great at home, or they looked great on Sunday Night Football in Vegas last week, and so I'm wondering how many people are just going to be high on them because they look like they got that spark back. But then I question myself, like, wait, the Chiefs, they can't be as bad as what we've seen from them from the beginning of the year, right? They got to hit that stride. So I'm a little worried about it, but I'm right there with you, Boston Sam. I'm going to stick with that and make that my dog. The Dallas Cowboys going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. So, old school, the Falcons are your dog?
No, I'll take the Cowboys.
Okay. just go right along with this.
I have one more real quick if you guys don't mind. And I was speaking so highly of him yesterday. I certainly think that if he gets to be able to start the game, which I know now that he is, Joe Flacco will lead the Jets over the Dolphins for an easy victory. Watch my boy come back.
Okay. All right. Kyle Albritton says Bills win by 7 over the Colts. So that's his lock. And then his underdog, Detroit, will carry the momentum from the Steelers game.
Why is Flacco your boy?
That's my boy, Flacco.
Let's see.
Rookie of the year.
He went to Delaware. He played for the Ravens.
Isn't that what makes him exceptional?
No.
He came from nowhere.
No.
And turned himself into an NFL Super Bowl champion, MVP, Rookie of the Year. All prestigious honors to have, especially as a quarterback that came from Delaware, and where else before
So did
that?
Trent Dilfer. He didn't go to. He didn't come from Delaware.
Right, and they both did it where?
Be more.
With the Ravens.
Exactly. In a place that's unsuspecting to win championships.
I've never really liked Joe Flacco, though. I don't know what it is about him.
Because he's a regular guy doing the thing.
I mean, when he came
I don't
out,
think that's
it was,
the reason.
It was who's better, Ryan or Flacco? They came out the same year.
Ryan.
Matt Ryan out of
Oh,
Boston
Matt
College.
Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan out of Boston College and Flacco out of Delaware.
Right.
Who's had a better career? Matt Ryan.
Joe Flacco.
Passing yards, Matt Ryan. But I mean, when we're talking about the
Passing
hardware that
yards
matters the most,
And I love that.
He's an MVP.
Absolutely. So was Flacco.
Flacco was never an MVP of the league.
He was the MVP of the Super Bowl, not the guy that gave it up.
Well, that's not the reason why the Falcons lost the Super Bowl. Wasn't Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan kept throwing the ball.
That's because in his ear he's getting throw the ball.
Right, but the coaches aren't out there with the football in their hand.
Well, it was Matt's.
Hand that thing off, son.
Absolutely, I agree.
Hand it off.
Screw you, coach. We're running the ball.
We're gonna run the ball here.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about our top 3 losses that have hurt us the most. And we already know where we're going.
You're killing me, David. You're killing me.
I brought it up just for that beautiful 28-3 number. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather forecast overnight. Clouds will start to thin out by dawn. 52 to 58 for the low. North wind 10 to 15. High pressure building in for Friday and the weekend. Some nice autumn weather. Partly to mostly sunny Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Near 70 Friday, low 70s over the weekend, and light northeast winds expected through the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida. More evil.
Auburn football heads to Columbia to go head-to-head with the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Intercepted by Jalen Simpson.
It really comes down to it's just a game of inches. You got to find the little things that are going to make the biggest difference.
Saturday with kickoff at 6 Central on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Tyndall, we love to see our members face-to-face. Video chat with a Tyndall representative to do almost anything you do in a branch. Open a new account, apply for a loan, order a debit card, or just say hi. Download the Tyndall Video Banking app today.
Have you been to Gin Gin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Gin Gin. Well, here's what you're missing. Gin Gin Super King Buffet has competitive pricing, a great selection, extensive buffet options perfect for family dining. Menu options also include top quality seafood, hibachi and sushi bar, or select their mouth-watering crab legs by order. Bring the family out to Gin Gin Super King Buffet located next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
At Tyndall, we love to see our members face-to-face. Video chat with a Tyndall representative to do almost anything you do in a branch. Open a new account, apply for a loan, order a debit card, or just say hi. Download the Tyndall Video Banking app today.
The mission?
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live in the Slim Chicken studio.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Slim Chicken Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And playing a little Rascal Flats because they said what hurts the most. And we're talking about the top 3 losses that hurt us the most. Give us a text or a call, 850-215-6290, or let us know on Facebook what your top 3 losses that hurt you the most are. Boston Tim, go ahead and lead us off here.
Well, we can pretty much do any sport if we're talking about Boston because we've been let down so many times in the past. But I think an easy one to jump to would be a more recent one. LeBron James goes back to Cleveland, and we are fortunate enough to go to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals after an unbelievable season and playing so well. And LeBron goes off for about a triple-double with 34 or 35 points. But defensively, had like 4 blocks and 4 steals and held us to 80 points in a Game 7. Which obviously doesn't definitively say that we would have gone and beat, a Warriors team that was at their prime with Clay and everyone. But it was definitely a hard loss and probably one of the more recent ones that I can think of with the NBA. The Celtics for us in the NBA would have been that loss to LeBron. Another good one, I think, 2003, we were the ALCS against the Yankees. And, of course, everybody remembers 2004 and the historic comeback being down 3-1 or 3-0, the first team to ever come back and beat the Yankees. But the year before, we go to 7 games again. And we're in the ALCS all the way in the 11th inning, and Aaron Boone, out of nowhere, who's not really known for having a huge stick, just smashes the ball and ends our possibilities of going to and winning a World Series for the first time in, at that point, 85 years, which now became 86, as we know now. So that was a huge one for us, for sure. And then my third one that I had real quick, guys, I think is, as everybody knows, being a huge Patriots fan and having the first undefeated season since the Dolphins, it was huge for us to go into the Super Bowl against the Giants, who were 8-8 that season, and have a relatively poor game on both sides of the ball, and then have at the end where we were leading a David Tyree catch that was just world renowned as probably one of the most amazing catches of all time.
Let's go, Eli!
Utilizing his helmet and falling backwards and still catching the ball was just unbelievable. And so I would say, having the opportunity to have gone 19-0 was certainly hurtful to lose that one.
That was poetic justice.
And could you imagine that if it wasn't for Nick Foles and Eli Manning, Tom Brady would be 10-0 in the Super Bowl? Let's get over to the Rip Crib Hotline. We got G-Man on the line. G-Man, what's going on, brother?
What's up, underdogs? I'm sorry.
You talk about yourself over there. What's going on, man?
Well,
What's your?
I can't believe. What's that?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I can't believe Kyle Alberton would actually say that the Bills are going to beat the Colts by. There's nobody. It's going to be a 3-point game, whichever way it goes. But anyway.
I actually do agree with you. That's why I stayed away from that game because the Colts are really one of the hottest teams in football. And not only that, they've got HBO on the sidelines for them.
Yeah. But so anyway, I'm going to Indianapolis for Thanksgiving. And just so happens Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, there happens to be a pretty good NBA player in Indianapolis playing the Pacers. His name's LeBron, and I've got tickets.
All right.
So,
hope he's healthy.
Yeah, he actually came back last night, didn't he?
No, he's supposed to be coming back Friday night.
Tomorrow night.
He's got a really long bellyache.
Oh, okay. So what else going on? Anything good in the sports world? I've been missing out.
Not a whole lot. I want you to tell me what loss in any sport hurt you the most?
Oh, man. I guess it was back in the...
Is it losing the name Indians and having to become the Guardians?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. But I would have to say when Indiana went to the final game, Mike Davis's first year at Indiana, he took him to the final game and got beat by Maryland, I think, in the NCAA championship game, if I'm not mistaken.
That would hurt.
When the Colts played New Orleans in the Super Bowl, got beat.
Was that Tracy
that's
Porter?
probably my worst. Huh?
Tracy Porter, pick six.
Yeah.
Or was it Roman Harper?
It was Roman Harper.
Roman Harper, yeah, Alabama boy. No doubt. All right, so what do you think the Colts and the Bills final score is going to be? Give me a prediction of that real quick.
I'm going to say 27-23.
Colts win it.
I'm going to have to. I've got to go with the Colts. I mean, I think it could go either way. They're both really good football teams, but you're right. The Colts have been playing pretty good football here lately, and the defense is starting to pick it back up. That rookie, that Kwity Paye or something.
Yeah, Kwity Paye. Out of Michigan, I believe.
He's tearing it up, man. He's starting to come into his own now. I can see why they drafted him after the last couple games.
That's one thing about you guys in your drafting lately has been on fire. Now, your free agent pickups, especially at the quarterback position, I see. But
Are you kidding me? Carson Wentz is tearing it up. I mean, he's like, top 5 NFL quarterback, I think, this year so far?
I'm just poking the bear, G-Man. I'm just poking the bear. I don't know if he's top 5, maybe in some statistical category, but just like Sam Kvara said yesterday, you can make stats tell any story that you want them to.
Well, Carson Wentz has been playing good football. We haven't lost games because of Carson Wentz. And that's the most important part to me. Well, I take that back. That one game he threw 2 interceptions.
There you go.
But that wasn't his. That really can't be all his fault. I mean,
what about the one where
offensive line was letting him get hammered?
That's true, and y'all had a little growing pains with the offensive line dealing with injuries. But what about the one that he threw to Kevin Byard? That was right there on the goal line. That was a pick six.
That was stupid. There's no doubt. I mean, everybody's gonna make a mistake.
No doubt.
So,
hey, G-Man, we're about up on a break though, so.
Yeah, everybody, if I don't talk to y'all, have a nice Thanksgiving.
Hey, you have a happy Thanksgiving too, man, and enjoy that game. That'll be a good one to go to, Lakers and Pacers.
Be safe on your trip.
I wish the Pacers were playing better. It'd be a better game. But.
Yeah. They're, up and down, and their ups aren't their ups aren't very high. All right, G-Man, we'll holler at you, buddy.
I'll let you go.
Yes, sir. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. Let's get back to top 3 losses that hurt the most.
Real quick, just so he knows, as of yesterday, Carson Wentz is rated the number 20 quarterback in the NFL.
Is that passing yards?
Overall QB rating.
Okay.
On ESPN.
So a ranking. All right. Hey, maybe we'll get into our top 10 quarterbacks tomorrow.
By Mike Tannenbaum.
Boston Tim, you got to call in tomorrow and give us your top 10 quarterbacks at this point in the season in the NFL. I'll go over my top 3 losses really quickly, and we'll get to old schools. Number 1 for me, Titans versus Rams, Super Bowl 34, 1 yard short, Kevin Dyson. I was 9 or 10 at that time, and, never been back to the Super Bowl for my boys. But next is the kick 6 versus Auburn. And this other one, my third one, is the 2012 loss to A&M by Alabama, 29-24. Johnny Manziel just doing stupid. Yeah, the old money signs, man, money bags.
Thank you, Mike Evans.
And looking at the box score, it wasn't Mike Evans. Mike Evans was like 5 receptions for 40 yards or something. It was Ryan Swope, who had like 11 catches, 110 yards, and some touchdowns to go along with it. But that one actually, in a sense, hurt me worse than what the kick 6 did, because the kick 6 was somewhat incredible, but because it was Auburn, no, sir. I cannot put a loss to Texas A&M above a loss to Auburn. Old school, where you at?
I have 3. I have in 2011, the Texas Rangers were, which I was a fan of at that point. They were 1 strike away from winning the World Series. Washington was their manager. And 1 strike away, and they end up losing it. The other one is University of Houston versus North Carolina State in the NCAA basketball championship. I grew up in the Houston area and really was a Cougar fan. And then most of all, Georgia, Alabama in the college football championship.
26.
No, I'm not going with that one.
Oh.
I'm going with the Colt McCoy. We should have won that game.
Oh.
That would have been Texas versus Alabama.
Yeah, Texas, Alabama.
I changed my mind because I don't even want to think about the 2nd and 26. So I'm just going to go with the Texas versus Alabama college football championship that Texas would have won had they not knocked out Colt McCoy.
I tell you, one that really comes to mind, and it hurts to bring it up because I'm a fan of both sides, but thankfully I have the raw emotions of old school here to confirm that breaking out to a 28-3 lead as an exceptional Boston College quarterback, you would presume only that you would cruise to a victory by handing off the ball for the duration of the game. But unfortunately, you were forced by your offensive coordinators to pass the ball constantly and just alleviate the time that you have the ball and give it to the greatest quarterback of all time and allow him to orchestrate probably the greatest comeback in NFL history to defeat the Atlanta Falcons in overtime back in the Super Bowl 53. That was definitely a tough one. I don't know if anybody recalls that one specifically, but
I have a good recollection of it. Old school.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I blocked it out.
It was a relatively good game. It started on a nice February afternoon at 5:30 in the afternoon.
I'll take you back.
Tom Brady had an exceptional day, but one James White had a better day. 3 touchdowns.
Defend your stance question here real quick. What will it take for Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, and the football team of the Atlanta Falcons to put that behind them? Will they ever be able to not be trolled by 28-3? Ever?
Listen, one tall, scrawny dude just came in and took the All-Star game away from an entire city, and we still only talk about the 28-3 loss. Something drastic has to happen.
Yeah, I think
The Walking Dead has to come true.
they'd have to win the Super Bowl 31-3. They'd have to win two or three Super Bowls, I would think.
It would have to be a reverse Buffalo Bills situation.
Like 4 years in a row, but they win all 4 years? Or what if they win 2 out of 4, but they went 4 years in a row?
It would have to be something drastic like that, I think. Something where it would have to be continuous over time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's something that's hard to take out of your memory and your mind, your heart, your emotions.
Well,
you have to wake up every
Rudy
morning.
with another good one. He says, just get rid of everyone that played in that game.
Well, they already have, except for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, except for old Matt.
Matt Ryan's the only one. They got rid of the coach, thank God.
Best decision they've made.
But anyway.
Julio.
All right. Well, we'll take a short little break right here. And when we get back, Boston Tim's going to be talking some hardwood and hoops in the NBA.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Saturday on college football on ESPN Radio. The Texas Longhorns head to Morgantown to face the West Virginia Mountaineers. With 2 games left, both Texas and West Virginia need to win out to become bowl eligible.
Our preparation and our focus on West Virginia for this ball game, everybody's upset. Everybody feels the frustration in what has occurred.
Texas, West Virginia.
Coverage begins Saturday morning at 10:30.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
So, how's the new job?
Love it, but it's not just a job, it's a career.
Life insurance? Love?
I told you Woodman Life is really active in the community, right? They support all kinds of community improvement projects. How's your job, by the way?
Don't ask.
You can love what you do, too. Call me, Lance Myers, your Panama City area Woodman Life recruiting sales manager at 850-769-9212 to learn more.
Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society of Omaha, Nebraska. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. From cavemen to Tim Allen, tools have always been in vogue. But now, this 3,000-year-old science is really taking off. Literally. When I come back, we'll pole vault into the tool age.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and Hometown Towing.
From the Stone Age, tools have made getting around an art. But now, this industry's gone cyber. Arum International's designed the Ultimate, a tool that tests and helps perfect other tools. Called the Variable Dynamic Testbed Vehicle, its complex drive-by-wire systems enable researchers to study drivers and vehicles' reactions to and work out the bugs in new technologies in a virtual world. Result? Time and life-saving innovations like collision avoidance and navigation systems. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back in the Slim Chicken Studio. Give us a call, 850-215-6290 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the Afternoon Underdogs, and we still don't have a winner for trivia today. So go ahead and give us a call on the hotline and tell me who is second all-time leading passer for the Cardinals in the NFL. And it's not Jim Hart. He's number 1. All right, we'll just get that out of the way. 850-215-6290 on the Rib Crib hotline. And then tomorrow, 4th caller of the day is going to get 2 tickets to Beat Down at the Beach. All right, let me get to the phone line over here. Boston Tim, tell us what's going on.
Well, first off, let's talk about Beat Down at the Beach. It's going to be a pro-am, right? So we'll have professional fighters flying in from all over the country to provide entertainment for us here locally at Lake Town Wharf on December 4th, live at 6 p.m. The doors will open, or the event will start 5 p.m. The doors will open. So come check us out. Tickets will be available, of course, through us here. You can contact Rob, 691-9650, or myself, 850-814-8654 for tickets, and, of course, eventbrite.com. It's going to be a great fight. We've got ladies' fights lined up. We've got kickboxing matches, and, of course, we've got multiple championship belt matches we're very excited to have. And if you guys are looking to come out and watch some football, we've always got Pineapple Willie's directly across the street from Lake Town Wharf on 9875 South Thomas Drive, where we have the both the NFL and NCAA packages for football. So come check us out. This Saturday will be closed for Pine's celebration of life service from 2 o'clock till sun goes down, which absolutely everybody is welcome to come to. But Sunday and, of course, next weekend, we'll have all football games live at the Pier Bar and in Pineapple Willie's with more than 20 70-inch TVs for your viewing pleasure. So come check us out. We have $20 buckets of beer, all beers, including craft, import, and domestic, and half-off appetizers. So come check us out. And if you let them know that you heard it here on ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida, we'll get you a free appetizer as well.
That's awesome, man. It's again, just a shout out to you guys for opening up Willie's for Pine's memorial service. I know for you and for the guys that work there, this is a labor situation. You guys will be working. A lot of you will be. And I know that's difficult for you, but at the same time, it's he's such an iconic person in our community. And, Pineapple Willie's just represents him so well that it's very fitting that that's where they would host it. And it's just something that everybody, I wish there was a way for everybody who has ever been impacted by Pine's life to come by and just pay their respects.
Yeah, we'd need to shut down for an entire week for that because he's affected exactly right. Thousands of people.
I was going to say, we'd have to have a bigger arena of 20,000 people to be able to fit all those people in.
And, he's survived by his beautiful wife, Mary, who, is she, as well as the kids, Eric and Barron, are just as equally amazing to the community and the people that surround them, their friends and family members. They're very, very giving, and they always want just for our community to do better. And so you'll always see them out doing benefits and things like that. So what a great family. Very unfortunate for them and all of us to have lost such an amazing man, but we're still thankful to have who we do have, and prayers go out to the family for sure.
Let's get to the Rib Crib Hotline. We've got Tyler on the line with us. Tyler, who is second all-time leading passer for the Cardinals?
Yes, sir. It is Neil Lomax.
Yes, sir. Neil Lomax. That's what I said, man. When I looked it up, I was like, I don't know. And the reason that we're asking for number 2 is because, like a dope, I gave the answer out as soon as I read the question off today. So, hey, Tyler, do me a favor and shoot a text over to this number that you called, 215-6290, and I'll tell you what we got to do to finish to help you get your prize.
Hey, yes, sir. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good day.
Hey, you do the same, Tyler. You do the same. 850-215-6290. That is the number to call. Lomax. Yeah, so I'll go down the list for you real quick. You got Jim Hart at number 1 with 34,000 yards. Then Neil Lomax comes in close to 12,000 yards behind him. Then Jake Plummer, 5,000 yards. He's got 17,000 yards total, 5,000 behind Neil Lomax. Then it goes Carson Palmer, Kurt Warner, Charlie Johnson, and then already in 7th place is Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray could he can work his way up to take down Jim Hart, but he's got a long way to go, man. But if he has any career that somewhat resembles Matt Ryan's, I was going to say Tom Brady, but we cannot compare people to Tom Brady, can we, old school?
No. I can think of somebody. That's hard, but I can do that. All right, and this guy, they're about to retire his number, okay? He spent all 21 years of his career with the same team, and he wore the number 41, and he was an absolutely unbelievable European threat that came over and played in the United States for his entire career, and he just dominated the entire time. He was an exceptional player and an exceptional teammate. He led his team in the history in points with 31,560 games played, 1,522. He had led the team with 11,489 rebounds, more than 1,200 blocks. He was 4th all-time for the Dallas Mavericks with 3,651
that's easy.
Assists. And on January 5th, they're going to retire his number. The only person that had more assists on that team than him all-time, of course, was Jason Kidd and Derek Harper. And so for Dirk Nowitzki to have his number retired on January 5th.
I was thinking football the whole time. I'm like, what's going on?
You can't compare somebody currently in football to Tom Brady, but you can certainly compare a career like Dirk Nowitzki's to that of Tom Brady's. Now, the overall accomplishments I don't necessarily think will be quite as equal, but the contributions that he had to his sport and to the country and the world and the unity that he brought together because of athletics, I think you definitely can say he was up there with Tom Brady. So that's somebody I certainly wanted to talk about, and we were going to briefly talk about basketball, and that's somebody I definitely wanted to say something about. So Dirk Nowitzki, shout out to you and congratulations for your retirement of your number.
Let's take a quick break, come back, and finish up with some NBA talk, Boston Tim. All right, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Old school Boston Tim, David Hayes will be right back.
Ian Eagle from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football. Tony Baselli and I will have the call from Atlanta when the Falcons host the 6-4 Patriots. New England's on a 4-game winning streak and coming off a blowout victory over the Browns. Can Mac Jones and the Pats keep their resurgence on track against Matt Ryan and the Falcons? Join us to find out on Thursday Night Football.
Coverage starts at 7 on your home for the NFL. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather forecast overnight, clouds will start to thin out by dawn, 52 to 58 for the low, north wind 10 to 15. High pressure building in for Friday and the weekend, some nice autumn weather, partly to mostly sunny Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Near 70 Friday, low 70s over the weekend, and light northeast winds expected through the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by All About Garage Doors, your garage door repair specialist. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Are you thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Panama City area? Think Real Estate is your team of local experts who simply love living and working in Bay County and helping others make their dreams come true through the exchange of homes and properties. We strive to provide excellent customer service in residential, commercial, and investment sales, as well as property management by combining classic customer service with crazy fresh marketing. Visit our website, whenyoutthink.com.
town green.
Medicare on your mind? The annual open enrollment period is here, and you probably have questions about Medicare and the best options for your personal needs. Let Florida Blue Medicare help guide you on your journey to choosing the Medicare plan that is right for you. Our plans feature the benefits you want at a cost you can afford. We offer benefits such as $0 monthly plan premiums, $0 copay for primary care doctor visits, and $0 copay for prescription drugs. And we have additional benefits like dental, hearing, and vision coverage, and a free Silver Sneakers gym membership. Call Florida Health Connector, the authorized agency for Florida Blue Medicare, to get the answers you need and the service you deserve. Call today at 850-571-9006. That's 850-571-9006. Not all benefits are available in all plans. Florida Blue is a PPO and RPPO plan with a Medicare contract. Florida Blue Medicare is an HMO plan with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Florida Blue or Florida Blue Medicare depends on contract renewal.
What's your take? Give it to us.
I dare you.
Call or text the Rib Crib Hotline, 850-215-6290.
Person responsible for this catastrophe.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs inside the Slim Chicken Studio, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Slim Chicken Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes. We've got Boston Tim, old school, in the building. I'm going to sling it over there to you, Boston Tim. But first, everybody, don't forget about Lincoln at Mosley tomorrow night at Tommy Oliver, 7:30. Go support your Mosley Dolphins in the playoffs.
And contact Certified Gearhead Motorsports and make sure you got your oil changed and your car running right so you can get over there and watch that game, guys. It's going to be a great game, and they'd love to make sure that you can get over there safely. So contact Adam Nitz and the guys over there at Certified Gearhead directly across from Pete Edwards Field out on the beach and get yourself one of the $30 synthetic oil changes that they're absolutely known for. And if you need anything else done in your car, please let them know because they're more than capable of doing it all. And also, guys, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and Panama City Toyota, along with Rib Crib, are feeding families for the holidays. Do you know anyone who had a rough year or might miss out on a traditional Thanksgiving dinner? Maybe it's even your family. Nominate them or yourselves for a free Thanksgiving dinner from Rib Crib in Callaway, which will include a smoked turkey and ham, and of course all of the sides to go with it. Submit nominations to ESPN Panama City at Gmail or text their story to 850-215-6290 and reach out to espn.com/contact. Plus, all nominated families are invited to join us for a free, delicious Thanksgiving meal at Coram Steak and Eggs in Callaway. The deadline to enter for this free Thanksgiving dinner from Rib Crib in Callaway will be Monday, November 22nd at 5 p.m., guys. So get your nominations in, please.
All right, man. You brought up a really cool. We talked to Steven about it. Biggest scandal in sports history that you can remember. I'm very interested to hear a little bit of back and forth. I'll chime in a little bit, but I'm very interested to hear some of old school's.
I have a number of them, actually, but I don't want to get too in-depth into them. We only got about six minutes.
Yeah.
So I'll name off two or three of them, and then the last one is the one that I want to discuss. Of course, the first one that comes to mind being
I've
from
always
Boston.
learned that that's the cool way to do it, but it just never works out for me because if I try to save it for last, I never get to it.
Especially when there's good ones.
Yeah.
You know, the first one, let's go this way. I've never been a huge soccer fan, right? But hearing what happened a couple of years ago and how the people have really went out of their way to put this guy on the front page and have him force himself into retirement, which is now still a scandal that's going to litigation in court and everything. And the most recent thing would be, of course, for the buyouts to get the Qatar World Cup, and would be Sepp Blatter, who is in charge of FIFA soccer, and he took, at one point in 2010, took a $10 million bribe that they know of, and then there's two other times, and then now, most recently, for the positioning of the World Cup to be in Qatar, it's reported that he took $40 million. So that's a big scandal. I think another big one was a stateside one that was more popular and very big on the news, would be the Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan.
Ooh-wee.
Where she had her boyfriend's security guard attack Nancy Kerrigan, hit her in the leg during one of the American skating.
Figure skating.
Yeah, skating championships. I'm not specific which one it was. Another one, again, being from Boston, I think the 1980 marathon was huge. It was a Rosie Ruiz, who you may not even know about this, but she was a lady that ended up winning, and she won by a substantial amount, and nobody really thought of it at first, but the amount that she won by was so substantial that somebody at some point looked into it. Come to find out, she actually took a ride and skipped a large portion of the race and only ran like 4 or 5 miles of it. So 1980 Boston Marathon, Rosie Ruiz is a good one. And then the one that most sticks out to me of all time in sports, I think, would be the Bernie Madoff Mets situation with Fred Wilpon, who was currently at that time the owner of the Mets in the 90s and going into 2000, when they finally had to really make a lot of moves, including what we know now as the Bobby Bonilla Day, where they had to defer payments for him for 35 years that were supposed to come from the profits of the $500 million that the Wilpons had put into a Ponzi scheme that Bernie Madoff, who just recently passed this year in April at 82 years old, had presented them as friends as a project that he could get into and really become ultra wealthy on. But it ended up being, again, like I said, a Ponzi scheme that had more than $1 billion total taken from people.
Yeah, the Bernie Madoff one was it was unbelievable, and the depth and the scope at which people were impacted. It was the Mets. It was a lot of famous actors and actresses, and it's amazing how many people were taken in by that. The one scandal that I think of often whenever you think about a scandal is the NBA's point shaving situation where the what was his name?
Tim Donaghy.
Tim Donaghy. I know there's been a couple of 30-30s done about that. There's a great book about it that was written. That one is pretty seedy. It's pretty ugly. But you know, there's then there was a couple of kids back in the day, and I can't remember what school it was, that did this point shaving in college basketball too, and I can't remember. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on who that was, but the point shaving thing in basketball has been going on for a while, but or in the past. But then of course we have all of the
was it
Patriots
Arizona State University with Hideki Smith? That was a big one, point shaving. And so that just became recently a Netflix documentary, which came out and it's called Hoop Schemes.
Yeah.
And so, he was a relatively poor kid that went to Arizona State University playing basketball. And he ended up gambling and owed a bookie, some money. And the bookie had a friend on Wall Street who was relatively well off. And he convinced Hideki, if that's specifically how you say his name, I'm not sure, but I think it's what it is, that he would give him $20,000, which would pay off his $10,000 debt and give him $10,000 more in his pocket, to just make sure he kept the game within 6 points. And the game finished exactly with a loss of 6 points, and the guy had bet $500,000 in Vegas and turned it into $1 million.
Did you ever get to that one that you really wanted to get into?
Which one?
One of your scandals, the one that you were saving for last. Did you get into it?
Yeah, the Bernie Madoff one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Just making sure got a
That's
couple.
how we got Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah,
July 1st.
Let's not just discount all of the Patriot scandals that have occurred over the years.
Oh, there's a bunch of them.
Absolutely, the
Aaron
two
Hernandez,
losses, losses to the Giants and the loss to the Eagles are the biggest scandals in the history of the NFL. Everything else is ludicrous and nothing but hearsay.
I definitely want to get back to this a little bit more Monday or Tuesday. That would be some great stuff. Couple of headlines. Unanimous for Shohei Ohtani. He is a unanimous AL MVP. Bryce Harper, your NL MVP. Coach Calhoun, legendary coach. Coach Calhoun retiring from St. Joseph. Had a career record of 920 wins, 397 career record with 3 NCAA titles. And then Cordero Patterson is out tonight with an ankle injury going up against the Patriots, and Damian Harris is in for the New England Patriots. So let's go watch some football. Change your dog and do it quick. We're out of here. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. Coach James Hale, 7 in the morning tomorrow. We'll see y'all tomorrow afternoon.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Coach James Hale Show.
We're going to have the head football coach of Mosley High School. Huge game tomorrow night. We need everybody at the football game. We need to pack out Tommy Oliver. Show those people from Tallahassee how we do it here in Bay County. We got to get a little bit closer to that state championship. Then at 7:30, Doug Lee. He's already got 2 state championships under his belt. The volleyball team that just won a state championship. Coach is going to be here. Some of the players. So we're going to be packed out tomorrow.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
As a proud graduate of Auburn University, Waylon Thompson is excited to sponsor Auburn football this season. Jay Manuel of Manuel & Thompson hopes that players and fans